It's time to update the firmware on one of our large dimmers. So all of these, the W-DIM4, the LumenDIM4, the RC4 Magic DMX4 DIM, and the RC4 Magic 904 DIM are, in terms of functionality for firmware updates, exactly and precisely the same. So in this demo, in this tutorial, I'm going to do a W-DIM. We'll update that. So get these out of the way. The first couple things, to connect the device to the computer, we need a code loader cable. So this is an RC4 product with a USB plug on one end and a 3.5mm plug on the other. Every RC4 Magic Series 3 device has a port somewhere on it to plug that in. So there it is on the W-DIM and all of the other larger devices. It's just up there beside the power connectors. To put one of these devices into the mode where it will receive new firmware, we hold down the Func button while we apply power. And in this case, the Func button is here. So when we do this, to acknowledge that we're in the code loader mode, we'll see the COP light on and it will be on solid. Remember, when the device is running normally, COP is blinking, so an on solid light is an indicator of something different. And I'll just show you that. You get a 5-second chance to start the process. So there it is, that green LED is on, and after 5 seconds it goes back to a normal restart. So when we do the real load, that's the time we had to get started. So now let's go over to the computer, and here we are. This is the icon to run the program. We'll run it. RC4 Code Loader is good for any Series 3 product. And first thing we do is pick the file, and it must be the correct file for the product you're updating. And remember, I mentioned the code loader loads as COM port, and I really like having only one COM device plugged in, so you've only got one thing in the list to worry about. But if you have other COM devices, you should be aware of which one is your code loader. So there we have, those are the two things we have to set: get the right file, get the right COM port, and now when I click update, the process will begin. So here is the cable that's plugged into my computer. I go in there, that's our data port, and I do the process I showed you earlier. We hold Func and apply power. The green light is on solid, and I click update. Now the new firmware is spooling in there and writing over the old version entirely, but it is not writing over parameter memory, so things like the DMX channels and the curves and all that stuff are the same. For small incremental updates, that might be convenient, and you could go ahead and give it a try, but I strongly recommend not doing that, because some of the more major updates, I may reorganize how data is saved in parameter memory, and that can be confusing for the new version. So I would say, in general, the next step should always be done, and that is to restore defaults. So I'll unplug the code loader cable because I don't need it anymore. The new firmware is in there. We saw it complete on the computer. So here, just watch me do the process even though you can't see the lights, and then I'll try and show you with the lights. So we push Func, tap Set A, release Func, and it's like a shift key to do this. So here, push, tap, and release. And I saw 3 LEDs blink together several times to tell me I'm on the right mode. Now, I apologize if this is a little bit of a fumble to get it so that it's facing the camera, but now this finger is going to push the Func. It's just touching the switch, it hasn't pushed it yet. So now I'm going to push, and there's the 3 buttons. So here we'll do it again. This finger pushes and this finger taps. So push, tap, and release. And that is restore defaults. I did it more than once, but you don't have to. One time and you've succeeded in clearing the parameter memory. So there, fairly quick and easy. We've completely updated the firmware in the entire device and restored the parameter memory to defaults, and now we're ready to start using this in a new project. It's really easy.